Hello and welcome to the Fighting Spirit Podcast. As always, I'm Jason and I'm here to go over the retrospective for the Mexico screw job, as I'm going to call it, the UFC fight that did not take place between Yair Rodriguez and Jeremy Stephens. I'm calling it the screw job because I'm a little salty about two contests that took place tonight. I'm a little bit salty about the co-main event where Carlos Esparza defeated Alexa Grasso. Even though the numbers shake out for Esparza, I think that Grasso won that fight, and I think there was also a screw job in the draw as well for Moreno and Askarov. And let's just get into it. I ain't happy about this one. It was 5-5 on the night. I lost some money because I don't bet every pick. Yeah, let's get into it. I'm just not happy. Here's the show. All right, let's start with the main event. This one, it's a screw job to the fans in Mexico City that went and paid good money to watch it, but at the end of the day, there's really nothing that could be done about it. Herb Dean gave every opportunity for this fight to take place, but 15 seconds into the fight, Yair Rodriguez just gets, I believe, a body shot, I think a leg kick, but afterwards he goes to push off and his fingertips out and he just rakes the face of Jeremy Stephens and he causes his eye to shut. It's spasming, it can't reopen, and they end up with a doctor's stoppage. The fans are real angry, hucking garbage into the ring, and I understand the frustration for them. I'm sitting here watching on ESPN Plus. It's no big deal to me. Obviously, it's disappointing to watch the fight end that way, considering, it was really, I think, the best fight on paper coming into this. It was definitely the big draw, and for it not to take place is really, really kind of a shame. And so I hope maybe there's like a partial refund for some of those fans. I hope that somebody gets some kind of compensation because I don't think they got what they necessarily paid for, but that is just the way it goes sometimes. So that one ends in a no contest due to doctor stoppage. There's really nothing to say about that one more. I'm not going to count it. How can you? So that one just NA on the night. Moving on to our co-main, Alexa Grasso versus Carla Esparza. This one made me angry. So I'm looking at the numbers now, and I can see why they gave it to Esparza. I get it. It was a majority decision. It was 128-28, and I believe 229-28 in favor of Esparza. So I think really the story here is that Esparza was just in control and had Grasso on the mat basically at will. It was the takedown. She had 4 of them on the night, and Grasso did not look comfortable on her back on the mat until round 3. But in my opinion, it was such a dominant round 3, and hats off to Esparza too. She's tough as hell, although her elbow must be screwed up right now. It's her decision in the moment, but man, I don't know I don't know if her elbow is going to be okay or not. It looks like the thing definitely had some popping ligaments there. It's just not a good idea to put your career on the line just to win one bout, in my personal opinion. But I'm not a professional athlete, and I'm definitely not a pro fighter. So that's just my personal opinion, and I think she should have tapped. Obviously, it would have worked out for me too, so I have some bias there. But I thought that Grasso won that fight in the 3rd round so handily that I thought she should have won the fight. Yes, was she beaten in the other rounds? Did Esparza hold her down? Yeah. But when that contest opens up in the 3rd, it's all Grasso, from the submission to the, beating up Esparza in her guard. I just don't like this decision here. I really don't. I know I'm wrong based on the numbers. I know I'm biased. I just don't like it, and it's a loss for us. In the next one, this one is a legitimate gripe that I have because this affects paydays. This affects, obviously, everybody's bet gets thrown out the window. Not that I put money on this one, but Brandon Moreno and Askar Ansarov. This was an amazing flyweight bout. Let's not take away from the actual excitement this fight had, but I thought Moreno won this fight. He made Askarov look like a little bit more amateurish on the mat. He was certainly beating him up on the feet. He outstruck him. Did he get the takedowns? No, but I thought that they had so much scramble fighting on the ground that a lot of those takedowns that were scored ended up being basically nullified. So while they do score points on the card, in reality, those takedowns didn't really materialize much for Askarov. I thought that he was hurt more often. I thought Moreno tried to smell blood, couldn't quite shut the door, and it went to decision and robbed these guys of their win money. And it could have been win money either way. I think it should have went to Moreno, but at the same time, Askarov could have potentially also gotten win money there. So I think that's kind of a screw job. That's really the big screw job of the night, in addition to the fans missing out and bought tickets out in Mexico City. And that main event's nobody's fault. It is what it is. Moving on, Irene Aldana, one we did call correct. In the last fight, we're just calling that one an NA. It's a draw, so can't really. So we got 2 NAs on the night. We got the draw and the no contest. Can't really account for those. So we had Irene Aldana defeat Vanessa Melo. Basically called it. She boxed her face off. Looked really good on the day. I like to see what else she can do at women's bantamweight. She had 125 strikes, and she just made Vanessa Melo look very amateurish. It's great combinations, not a lot of power though. So at bantamweight, I don't know how much of a problem she's really going to give some of the higher echelons at 135 pounds, especially if she does make a run at the title. Nunes has so much power in her hands. I don't think Aldana's technique is going to be able to deal with that well enough. You got to be able to take some to give some, and I don't think she can give them hard enough compared to the bantamweight queen and even the featherweight queen at ladies, Amanda Nunes. So Irene Aldana looked good, but I don't know how much further she'll really get along here. I thought she should have shut the door on many occasions there. But we did pick up W. This other one really made me frustrated, and there's really nothing you can do about it. This is MMA. MMA gods sometimes do not want to help out the guy that's winning, don't want to help out the guy that picked him in my case. And so Steven Peterson defeats Martin Bravo. Bravo boxed his face off through amazing combinations, but I think he may have gassed himself out a little bit. He threw 86 punches basically in the first round, and when he came off the stool to start the second, he did not look like he had the same gas in the tank, the same bullet in the chamber, and he started to fade. And just kind of a freak thing happened. He throws a spinning back fist. Peterson throws his own. Peterson's connects on the chin real bad. He's out on his feet. He's out when he hits the mat. It's over. And Steven Peterson wins a fight that I did not think he was going to win with a walk-off victory. And that was frustrating because you saw how lopsided it was. You saw that Bravo was probably going to win that fight if he goes to the judge's scorecard, was hitting him really well, but these were a lot of point shots. I don't think he was actually inflicting a lot of damage, and Peterson is just a really, really tough guy. So he was not really, injured or phased by any of the contact that Bravo had put on him. So ultimately, Bravo picks up an L here, and we do too. And the next one, Kyle Nelson defeats Polo Reyes. This is the only one I was really happy about on the night. I thought we were going to maybe kick things off pretty good going into the main card, but things just did not look good after this, and even before it. So, actually, before it, I just didn't have any money, and that's really where things cut out for me. But, actually, I missed one. Kyle Nelson knocks him out in the first round. Not much to say about it. He just puts him on the cage, hits him with some really great shots. Polo Reyes is basically out on his feet. He has his hands up as the judge is talking, or the ref is talking to him. He didn't really quite know where he was for several minutes. And it was an excellent win by Kyle Nelson, the Canadian outsider, who I said was going to win and get it done in spectacular fashion. Jose Quinones defeats Carlos Hauschen, and this one was, it was a tough pill to swallow as I watched it. I did call Hauschen. He was just outsized. Quinones, just his movement, his gas tank was there. He looked amazing, phenomenal. I don't think Hauschen gassed, but he definitely didn't have the same rhythm and step that Quinones had. Quinones just looked so much better, so much faster, so much stronger. His takedowns at will, his boxing on the feet. The only chance Carlos had is that I thought Quinones was circling out to the same side every time, and Hauschen tried to exploit that by catching him with these over-the-top looping punches, but he wasn't really able to connect. He had just too small, short arms, not able to get inside, and that's just kind of how it went. I thought he had the power, but he just couldn't connect with it. In our next one, Angela Hill defeats Ariane Carnelossi. So I didn't quite see all of this one, but Hill did shut down Carnelossi in the third round. So she finally got a stoppage. The woman hasn't had a stoppage in quite a long time. So Overkill Hill actually shuts the door, scores a kill with a TKO via elbow. This was a doctor stoppage, and it looked kind of like a weird one. I mean, it was a gash, but it didn't seem like the worst gash. It wasn't even bleeding when, and maybe they, got the cut ban on it right away, but it wasn't even bleeding when the judges, read out the decision. And I don't know. I mean, it seemed like maybe a quick hook. Either way, though, we got the victory here. and she was winning the fight. I don't think this was going to go back in Ariane's way unless you got a walk-offs similar to what Peterson did. But, she ended up picking up a W for us, and so happy about that. Although didn't put any money on the debuters. That was my bad or my good, depending on how you look at it. I know I've said I didn't want to take debuters anymore. I just doesn't make mistakes. So then we had Sergio Pettis defeat Tyson Nam. I thought Nam looked good to start, but Sergio just showed that he belongs in the UFC as like the top 5 guy in the world at flyweight. Tyson Nam might have a lot in the smaller stakes in Hawaii, but he was a small fish in a big pond, or big fish in a small pond before he showed up, and he looked every bit the part, with Sergio Pettis picking him apart slowly but surely and outstriking him 2-1, picking up a W for us. In the next one, Paul Craig defeats Vinicius Moreira. So I don't know why Moreira wanted to play so much jiu-jitsu. I think they maybe just wanted to test the waters there. Just not really a good idea. I would have liked to see him stand up and set up the takedowns to try to grind Craig down a little bit. But he tried to test the jiu-jitsu waters very early. Craig must have been in hog heaven because he picked up the rear naked choke 3 minutes and 19 seconds into the first round. So I thought the Brazilian jiu-jitsu would be on par, but he just tried to go there too quickly. I don't think it was the right IQ. I think Craig could have been ground down a bit before he tried to exploit that, but hey, is what it is. Like, I'm not a pro. I'm just the outsider looking in, and we picked up an L on that one. Got that one wrong. Another one we got wrong as well. Betchko defeats Sajara Eubanks. I'm not really sure how this one happened because Eubanks outstruck her 77-59, and Eubanks scored a takedown and also a pass on the ground. So this one seems like another screw job in Mexico. I'm happy for Correa. I mean, the woman had won a fight in forever, but these international cards, man, we got one next week. It's got a lot of good names on it, so I'm really don't want to skip it, but I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass for not skipping this one. I should have skipped this one. I've been hesitant about international cards for a while, and this was one that I think I could have skipped and walked away from, and I wouldn't have had to deal with the losses. So, is what it is. And, the last one, we did pick up a win against with Claudio Puelles defeating Marcos Mariano. He outstruck him and scored some really nasty takedowns, and it was able to pick up the unanimous decision. So mostly a grappling contest in that one. But yeah, just kind of upset about the results, upset about my decision to take part in this one, upset about a couple of things. This was one of the more frustrating cards I've had in a while. I'm just not really too happy about it. I'm not disappointed in myself. I'm not really disappointed in, the performances of the fighters. I'm really disappointed in the judges and just the way some things played out. And there's a little bit, I think, of a wanting more because the main event didn't take place. I didn't get to see Yair actually fight, and that just stinks. And I shouldn't be upset about that, but it just all piles in, and I'm just not happy. I'm just not happy with it. It's frustrating. I do a lot of work for this. Sometimes it just doesn't pay off, and that's just this game, and I have to accept that. But it's a tough pill to swallow sometimes. It really is. I just went through right before I recorded this and crunched out Hermanson and Cannonier just for time's sake. I'm not going to go over those picks there, but that one is done. I had to just kind of do something after the fights were done just to get my mind off it, and just punching data in is a good way to do that. So yeah, that's where we're at. Let's see, other things. I don't think we have any emails because hardly anybody listens to this show. No emails. Please write the Fighting Spirit Podcast at fightingspiritpodcast@gmail.com. Give me a little bit of dialogue to have with someone. No, not going to twist your arm on that one, but yeah, just a little salty. I'm getting difficult, I think, to watch these with. I don't think my wife is happy with me, and yeah. I mean, I don't get angry or anything, but I rant and I rave and I walk around, and I think I have a lot of nervous energy as these things play out, and they're just not fun when you're losing. That's really what it is. I like the roller coaster ride. But I feel like this one was it's just not fun. It beat the crap out of me. It just was not the fun experience that I enjoy. Yeah, and you gotta have some highs and your lows. It's just a lot of lows, a lot of disappointments, a lot of how the hell could they rob that guy? How the hell could they not raise Grasso's hand? Of course they're not gonna fight the main event now. I know I'm rambling here, but I'm just not happy with it. It's 12:15. in the morning. It's Sunday. Got some NFL picks I'm looking at. So just as a total sidebar, since we're just having a rambly, kind of disappointing podcast, I got 2 NFL money line picks out there. I got out, so maybe I can make up a little bit of the losses here tonight, and just see how those play out. Not touching the spread or anything at the moment, and I don't think I will, to be perfectly honest. I think money line's the way to go for what I'm trying to do. Kind of just win and loss, binary. Either it happens or it doesn't. You don't have to worry about covering any kind of point spread, and so I'm probably going to stick to that. Yeah. Here, I'm going to tell just a quick story of the casino, just because I don't know what else to talk about, and I just get this on my mind. So, when I was at the casino the other day, and this wasn't today, although I did go today, and I had pretty much regular experience, but when I went last time, in football season, I am participating in football. Well, basically, I'm almost there. I'm there every week just to, do the UFC MMA stuff. And sometimes I go there, walk over to the window, I say hey to the guy, I got my little book with me for professional bet. I place bets, I leave. But other people, man, there are some degenerates out there that are just really tough, right? So we're waiting in line. It's a pretty long line, and it's the NFL's on, so it's there's like 10 guys in this line. So things are coming along, and they got one guy at the sports book, and they always have 2 guys at the horse side. Now, I know the horse race, the mutals, that's a whole different aspect of gambling that I don't want to touch. I feel like that's the real degenerate stuff. I don't touch that. So I'm in the line, and I'm looking, and we're finally basically at the line where we can walk up. But there's one guy ahead of me. There's a guy at the window. There's me, and there's a guy behind me who's basically really anxious. I mean, we're talking about a guy who'd probably be like, what, is the WNBA on? I'll bet in the WNBA. That actually happened. I don't know. If you're betting on WNBA, it's just because it's on, you probably got a problem. Just sidebar. Anyway, so this guy starts chatting that's in front of me, and all the while this is happening, there's nothing going on that we can do. There's still a guy at the sports book. He's putting in like 32, futures bets and everything else, right? He's doing his thing. And all of a sudden, this will have to be a little bit of explicit language here, but, the guy's like, hey, are you in line? Like, we've all been in line for like the last 20 minutes, man. Like, I don't know why he's asking me this. He goes, hey, are you in line? I was like, yeah. He's like, so I'm like, yeah, we're in line. And then he looks over at that guy. He's like, hey, is that guy in line? I look over because he's talking to somebody. I go, oh, he is, but he's just chatting. He goes, well, F him. Fuck him. All right. So the other guy looks over at the guy behind me, and he was like, oh, hey, I'm sorry. But for a moment there, I was like, holy shit, I want to have a fight at the casino. This guy just told him to go fuck himself. And standing in the middle, he probably thinks that I'm, telling him to go fuck himself too. And this all the while, this guy is so impatient, nobody can even go up to the sports book at this exact moment. So he steps off to the side, though. Everything ends up being fine, but it's like, Jesus Christ, can people just relax a little bit? Like, we can't even go. It's like honking your horn at a red light. I want to go, I just can't. And who cares in the meanwhile? So, yeah, some people there are just a little bit testy. For the most part, it's like an okay-ish experience. Just sort of thing, though, they never print out the MMA. I think I'm the only guy betting on MMA. They never print out the sheet. Every once in a while, they do have it, but they never print out the sheet where you can go and circle, because all the fights have a number, all the events have a number you can bet on. So you want to bet 12-9-6-2 on the money line or something like that. And MMA almost never has a sheet. They didn't have one today. They haven't had one for many other occasions. So I go up there. I have all these names written down, and it's like, oh, you want to bet boxing? That's the first thing they go. No, fighting, MMA. Oh, okay. There are times that I'm picking guys on the card, and they literally have to stop everything they're doing, call their manager, and have the fights added. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only person gambling this. They don't even have them at the sportsbook on a record. It's just the weirdest, damnedest thing sometimes. So that's Jason's Tales from the Casino, because we just didn't have a good day, and I feel like rambling. So anyways, you know how to get at us. We got the Patreon, we got the YouTubes. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. I don't know why you would tell your family unless they're a bunch of degenerate gamblers, to be perfectly honest. But, hey, let them know. Maybe they'll be entertained. And, this is just my coming clean of my thoughts. This is therapeutic. You know what? I feel better. Until I speak with you again next time, happy fight picking.